but I can't be cool with you after you just said what you said.
Yeah.
Like, it was really bad.
Matter of fact, this is what we're going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to interview. Now, Killer, tell me how you would really say it.
All our shit be going viral real quick, just so before I even get to the J Prince shit. All our shit go viral, so niggas never see how this started. They only see how it be getting finished. So for the people that's catching up on this who have no idea how this started, we gave our opinion of the fight. We said the shit was boring. All of us said it was boring. It's 100 niggas saying it's boring. But because our shit go viral, niggas think that they can keep talking to us. Shakur Stevenson told us to get the strap or strap up, or better yet, put the gloves on so he could fight us. We said what he said, and then he started going crazy. Everything was over with. Me personally, I'm sick of it before I even address the J Prince thing. I'm sick of it. I left it alone. We have not talked about a nigga this much before his fights or after his fights, in none of his fights. However many fights he had in his career. This is the most traction the nigga ever got. My nigga, I had a meeting on Friday, this is no cap, with some of my Jewish partners. Shout out to Shapiro's, I won't give you first name, shout out to my partners. Before the meeting started, they asked me, Murder, why are you arguing with Tupac's son, Cam? I said, what are you talking about? He said, no, we see it in the media. You're arguing with
J Prince has a message for both of y'all with your comments after what you guys had to say about Shakur. He said, numbers don't lie, haters do. Let their haters say that he's boring and nobody wants to watch him. Sorry to tell you, it's just a select few of you haters. As you can see, there's proof that he has the #1 ratings in any fight on ESPN this year, the top 3 ratings since 2022. And to all of you haters who want to escalate that hate outside of the ring, I'm Shakur's manager and I handle all his business outside of the ring. In other words, Cam and Mace, I will fade all his shots and take all bets.
Yeah, chill, Killer. I got this one. I got this one.
All right, go ahead.
I got this one. You gonna take all his fades and take all his shots and you handle everything out the ring. All right. So then we talking to you then, all right? We starting with you. Since you the big homie, we starting with you. That's how it goes around here. I want to just start off by saying you are so lacking self-awareness. Like when you give such a lackluster performance and then you think you can make threats to people because you gave a lackluster performance, pause. You don't have the right to tell me what I should like or to tell Cam what he should like. That's not your place. Like, art is subjective, right? So if art is subjective and I don't like something, you can't really get mad at us because we don't like something. And you're standing there with two Hall of Fame boxers that are constantly letting their hands go. So I think is crazy that Andre Ward let his hands go. Terrence Crawford definitely let his hands go. And then you walk out with these boxers and you don't tell the next guy to let his hands go. This is a lapse of judgment. And I'm going to tell you another thing. When you're dealing with older people, they're the last to know that things have changed. We not your little niggas. Like the way you talking, I don't give stuff. That's for little niggas. Little niggas have big homies. We're not little niggas, so we don't even respect big homies. I know Killer doesn't, and for me, I never respected niggas in the streets. That's why I always got the problems I got. Niggas would tell me, Mace, chill. No, chill for what? Who is this nigga? That's how I feel listening to this, man. Like, I want to respect you, but I can't. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if I got a little, like the dudes that raised me, if I was out of pocket, they would tell me I'm out of pocket. They wouldn't let me put them on a crash out mission. They would say, yo, Mace, listen. Mm-hmm. Around here, we don't send niggas to do nothing for us. We don't pay niggas to handle our problems. Mm-hmm. You got to put in your own work around here, Lord, man. That's what you were supposed to tell them. You can't go out here and talk crazy and then send me on a mission. Mm-hmm. Nah, this is where the game got messed up. When young niggas started sending old niggas out, and just because this little ignorant nigga got a few dollars, He make all of you that's supposed to be real run after his mission. This is a problem, Jay Prince. And I'm going to tell you like this. If you're 60 years old and you trying to be a street nigga, you failed. You failed. You failed. You failed. I'm telling you this. And I stand, my name is Mace. I stand by this message.
See?
That's the murder unit.
That's what I'm talking about with you right there. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's...
You can't be 60 years old still trying to be a street nigga killer.
I know they just don't know you like that. They don't know you like that. I know. I think real quick though. I think Jay Prince, he said it. He said it. I just don't even figure out what the fuck. I don't know what the slang mean. I don't know what the phase in the bet, but I take the bet. Whatever the bet, I take. I like that, murder.
Yeah, I mean, because when you think about it, right?
Yes, I know. She got more.
Yeah, I mean, when you think, because I just was with Kanye a while ago, and we called Jay Prince on FaceTime. So he was like, y'all getting together good. So I don't even know why he would come at me with that energy. You know what I'm saying? I felt really disrespected by him doing it. Right. There's certain people you're supposed to come at like that. And I'm not one of them.
Well, let me ask you a couple questions since we're here. I'm going to get on my broadcast shit. So murder. How do you feel him coming at yourself and Cameron and didn't say anything to Kendrick Lamar about the Drake situation? Because anytime Drake has a problem, it seems like he runs and tell niggas, yo, Puff, yo, niggas, Drake, nigga. How do you feel? I mean, I want you to answer, but how do you feel about him calling you and your partner out and didn't say anything about that?
You said something really profound. He said something to Puff, right? Mm-hmm. He said nothing to Kendrick.
Right.
He says something, and I know you're going to elaborate about this later. He says something to the dudes in New York, but that didn't really go over well.
As far as what?
Whatever kid that was that got the chain taken.
Right.
And then and you're going to talk about all this. So I'm going to let you talk about it more in detail, but he didn't say nothing to Whack. Like, it's like, so when you come talking to me, I feel like you're very selective. This is exactly what I meant last week when I was talking about street niggas being selective. Mm-hmm. They got selections of who they think they're going to get tough with. So I feel there's a must for me to say something, because you can't be selective with us, because we're not the weakest on the chart to deal that with. We do commentating. That's what we keep it there. But we, cigars.
Okay.
Cigarettes.
Yeah. Well, just
hookah.
Yeah.
Vapes.
Grape, strawberry,
coconut, pause, lavender. We don't duck no smoke.
Yeah, no. So just to elaborate, I'm in interview mode since you're gonna go this route this morning. Yeah. He did say something back to Whack, but Whack said some of the most disrespectful shit I ever heard. Yeah. I've been doing this 27 years. It was wild. It's so disrespectful, I'm not gonna repeat it. Mm-hmm. But he squashed it. After, like, for Whack would have said that, I mean, and I'm broadcast cam right now. I don't know if it couldn't have been subtle, but I can't be cool with you after you just said what you said. Yeah. Like, it was really bad.
Matter of fact, this is what we're going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to interview. Now, Killer, tell me how you would really say it.
All our shit be going viral real quick, just so before I even get to the Jay Prince shit. All our shit go viral, so niggas never see how this started. They only see how it be getting finished. So for the people that's catching up on this who have no idea how this started, we gave our opinion of the fight. We said the shit was boring. All of us said it was boring. It's 100 niggas saying it's boring. But because our shit go viral, niggas think that they could keep talking to us. Shakur Stevenson told us to get the strap or strap up, or better yet, put the gloves on so he could fight us. We said what he said, and then he started going crazy. Everything was over with. Me personally, I'm sick of it before I even address the Jay Prince thing. I'm sick of it. I left it alone. We have not talked about a nigga this much before his fights or after his fights, in none of his fights. However many fights he had in his career. This is the most traction the nigga ever got. My nigga, I had a meeting on Friday, this is no cap, with some of my Jewish partners. Shout out to Shapiro's, I won't give you first name, shout out to my partners. Before the meeting started, they asked me, Murder, why are you arguing with Tupac's son, Cam? I said, what are you talking about? He said, no, we see it in the media, you're arguing with ain't that Tupac? So I said, that's not, no, his first name is Shakur, not lie. He said, well, what does he do? I said, no, never mind. They didn't even know, they never heard of the nigga.
Yeah.
But because we keep talking about the nigga.
We don't keep talking about it.
Exactly. You know what it is? Our clips go viral all week. So it don't stop. It ain't, once we say it, it's viral all week.
Oh, okay.
So word to everything I love. I swear to God, after I got off that meeting, I said to myself, I'm leaving this shit alone, bro, because niggas don't even know this nigga. If you don't know, I don't mind, keep going.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this don't make no sense. So what happened is Saturday night, I guess they interviewed him, and they was like, hey, is everything cool with you and Mason, with Mason Cam and all that, Fuck them bitch ass niggas. Them niggas are still bitch ass niggas, ain't nothing changed. This is what he said Saturday night. This is a week after the fight. So the niggas who run my social media page, or our social media page, they got the same humor that we got.
Yeah.
They start putting up pictures of him when he's crying in the Olympics, whatever. The next day is when Jay Prince just say what she wrote. Hey, yo, my man, listen, James, let me explain something to you, bro. May said it exactly. You 60, nigga. You 60. What are you talking about? What are you, bro? I lost mad respect for you because I used to have mad respect for you. When you had Shakur with you, when you line Young Boy NBA up, why the fuck you got Shakur with you? And this is why he acting like that. This is exactly why he acting like that. Talking about you got Young Boy NBA umbrellas and his keys to his car. Young Boy NBA told y'all niggas eat a dick. This is what he said. This is what Young Boy NBA said. Whack 100 was the most disrespectful. Wild disrespect. I ain't even gonna repeat the shit Whack 100 said. Mad disrespectful. Drake is beefing with Kendrick Lamar as we speak. I have not heard, this is the first time Drake got into some shit and I ain't hear you say shit to Kendrick Lamar now. Why do you think that you could tell us what we can and cannot say, my nigga? Control your nigga. Control that nigga. Ain't nobody gonna tell a nigga, get the strap, and then we gonna sit there and be like, hey, I think we should shut up. Nah, nigga. This is not 1982, bro. You cannot sit here and tell niggas get the strap and then niggas be quiet. Nobody know that part because our shit just be going viral. You bugging. You bugging, James. You bugging, my nigga. And I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't know what bet you talking about, all that other slang down. Bet it. Whatever bet you talking about, bet it. I don't know what's bet it. Bet it. You want bet it? I don't know what
To move on from this, I gotta ask, do you guys feel like there's a beef? Because there's literally a full-on article, even from Billboard, talking about, the Shakur versus Mason Cameron beef explained, giving timeline and timestamps and posts. Do you guys even feel like there's a beef, or you guys really feel like it was never that big of a deal?
No, I don't think it was a beef at all. I think we're gonna continue to do exactly what we do. Before we slow down, we're gonna pick up the speed. We're definitely not slowing down for nobody. Anything come across this desk, we are responsible to tell the truth and to tell it exactly the way it is. We're not gonna ever sugarcoat something for anybody that comes across this platform. And so make sure when your sports come across us, that it comes across us the way you want it to be heard, because when we see a fight, we have to call it the way we call it. When we see basketball, we got to call it the way we call it. And we're not changing for nobody. That's what makes us different.
And that's really the best take, to be totally honest with you. Look, a great take is this. Listen, and that was a great take, Mace. When I put out an album, or Mace puts out an album, if somebody don't like it, we're not running around chasing down everybody that don't like the album.
Yeah.
If you don't like the album, then you don't like the album. We can't sit here and threaten niggas. Yo, you don't like my album, get the strap. What? What are you talking about? Yo, when I see you, I'm gonna fuck you up because you ain't like my album. Your craft is your craft. If you're not good or not excited at your craft, and niggas is saying that, that's niggas' opinion.
Yeah.
Just like we're entertainers, if nigga don't like our music, then we can't sit there and chase down everybody that don't like our music.
And I don't think we need to explain nothing. I don't like explaining myself to niggas. Whatever. It is what it is, like we said.
And no, on some G shit murder, I promise you I was leaving this alone. But yesterday, it started being all over the blogs and being everywhere else. I'm like, I'm not responding to this nonsense. Because just like Stat said, Billboard is publishing this. And this is not, I'm talking to y'all, not even the audience. Honestly, when have we talked about this nigga this much in the media? I'm talking about any fight. You can sit there, any fight he had.
No, at one point we were saying that he would be a good match for Tank. And when he was fighting good, we spoke of him as he was fighting good. When he fought bad, I spoke of him as he fought bad.
Nah,
I don't change. I keep the same energy.
You can sit, I'm talking about this long. Pause.
Yeah, we haven't.
Right.
Never.
Or any other fighter.
We don't talk about nobody like that.
Bro, I'm talking about all right, Buster, this is what I'm saying. I get what you're saying. The fight was a week and change ago, bro.
Yeah.
This is still, what did you talk about? To me, niggas is using this for publicity. To be totally honest with you, my personal opinion is because you didn't get this much traction before any fight, let alone after a fight.
Mm-hmm.
This is publicity. And you're not using niggas for publicity.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, look, this is dead serious. And I know niggas gonna think I'm clowning and joking or anything else. If niggas was smart, call us to promote your fight. You don't need De La Hoya. You don't need Bob Arum. You don't need Eddie Hearn. This is the most traction niggas got. But niggas is emotional.
Yeah.
We nigga pay-per-view. Secondly, real quick before
that might be a great idea.
No, it's a fantastic
Not just
idea.
promote it. We should be sitting there commentating when he fights.
Yes. Now they're gonna be mad at that. But we could promote it. We could be a promoter, nigga.
Yeah.
Listen, you never got this much traction. We could, dead serious. I know it's gonna be like, oh, niggas is good. Think about it. You in Billboard. You ever been in Billboard, nigga? You in Billboard. You on TMZ.
You made it.
You made it, nigga. You made it. You made it. Nigga, you made it. You're welcome.
You made it.
You never been on TMZ outside of boxing. You never been in this is Billboard. We Billboard niggas. We brought you along. We should I know you're gonna be like, oh, niggas troll. Nah, I'm serious. Think about your next fight. Think about it, like real quick, right? Your next fight. And James Prince is a businessman. He should understand this. And I know he got other shit to do. This kid, I know you gotta have other shit to do, nigga. You got to. Think about it. You give us your fight, your next fight. 3-4 weeks before your fight start, we talk about pillow hands fighting this week. Get your pillows ready. Nigga, we gonna get your shit lit. Because Jay Prince, the way it started, Jay Prince read the numbers from your fight. And he turned the comments off because the comments was going crazy. I read it when I was on the way to work. And he's like the most watched boxing match this year on ESPN. And all the comments, every comment.
ESPN is free.
That's what they said. They said this isn't pay-per-view. Nigga said this ain't pay-per-view. Every comment was talking about it's free. It's like, bro, why would you show the free numbers as part of the cable provider? It comes with the you ain't gotta push order and do you want to accept 979 night? Nah, nigga, it's free. Posting them numbers didn't mean nothing, bro. Nothing. If you need help, we're here. We got you here right now. It's a week and think about it. It's a week and a half after the fight, and we still talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do big homies, bro. I don't do that.
If you have been anywhere near boxing Twitter, sports YouTube, or hip-hop media this week, then you already know a surprisingly heated situation is unfolding between two of the most outspoken voices in sports and culture commentary and one of the most powerful names ever to come out of the music industry. What began with something as simple as an opinion about a boxing match has now grown into a much larger public clash involving a legendary promoter, two iconic rap veterans turned media personalities, and a young, undefeated fighter who is suddenly getting nearly as much attention for the controversy around him as he is for his performances inside the ring. And believe me, you will want to stick around for this one, because once we connect all the pieces, the timeline becomes much easier to understand, from where the tension started to why everything escalated and why the people involved cannot even seem to agree on whether this is actually a serious beef. So, let's rewind and break this entire situation down. Every week, a well-known sports and culture show hosted by two former rap stars spends time dissecting major stories across boxing, basketball, entertainment, and beyond. At this point, the show has become essential viewing for a particular audience that wants sports coverage delivered with personality, humor, strong opinions, and very little filtering. A few weeks back, the hosts turned their attention toward a nationally televised boxing card centered around a young, talented, undefeated fighter. The fight aired on a major sports network, and as they usually do after major bouts, the hosts gave their unfiltered reaction to what they had just watched. Their verdict was pretty clear. They thought the fight was boring. There was no obvious personal attack against the fighter, no coordinated attempt to damage his reputation, and no complicated hidden agenda, just two commentators expressing an opinion that many casual viewers were already sharing online, which was that the slow pace and limited action did not deliver the excitement fans were expecting. In most cases, that kind of criticism would have vanished almost immediately. Someone says the fight was dull, another person argues that it was actually technical, social media goes back and forth for a few hours, and then the internet finds something else to obsess over. This time, however, the story refused to disappear because the fighter reportedly chose to respond, and he apparently was not interested in keeping things polite or quiet. The two hosts said the fighter addressed them publicly and challenged them directly. The message was essentially this: if you are confident enough to criticize his performance that strongly, then maybe you should be willing to take the conversation somewhere beyond microphones and cameras. In plain English, he appeared to suggest that if they wanted to keep talking, they should be ready to fight. And that is exactly where an ordinary sports argument suddenly enters completely different territory. You can disagree with a commentator. You can be furious about criticism of your performance. You can believe people are ignoring the sacrifice, training, preparation, and punishment required to compete at that level. But when a media opinion turns into an invitation to physically settle the disagreement, the entire situation changes. That was the point when this stopped looking like another forgettable sports debate and became something viewers actually had a reason to follow. Then, just when it seemed like the situation had reached its limit, another heavyweight name stepped into the controversy. Suddenly, the fighter was not the only person involved, because his manager, a highly respected and historically important figure with deep roots in both hip-hop and boxing promotion, decided to address the situation himself. We are talking about someone now in his 60s who has spent decades establishing his name across both the music and boxing worlds. This is a person known for helping shape careers, making major business moves, and influencing the culture surrounding both industries for generations. Rather than watching the controversy burn out on its own, he directly addressed the two commentators and made it clear that if they wanted to take the situation outside the boxing ring, he was willing to handle that matter personally and position himself as the man responsible for dealing with business away from the cameras. That is a pretty significant statement. When someone with that level of history, credibility, and influence personally enters a public dispute, they are not simply adding another opinion to the conversation. They are raising the stakes because suddenly decades of reputation and power become part of the storyline. Now you have a veteran businessman and legendary industry figure with more than 30 years of relevance publicly trading words with two entertainers who are roughly half his age. Naturally, that generational difference became a major talking point in the host's response. Instead of backing away from their original criticism, the commentators actually doubled down, arguing that evaluating an athlete's performance is completely different from attacking that athlete personally, and that no matter how respected, wealthy, influential, or powerful someone becomes in business, entertainment, or street culture, they do not get to control what commentators are allowed to say about a nationally televised sporting event. Their argument was straightforward. Opinions are subjective, and if someone believes a performance was weak or boring, they should be able to say it without suddenly being treated like an enemy. But this is where the discussion took another unexpected turn, because the hosts began placing heavy emphasis on the age and legacy of the man who had entered the dispute. Both commentators pointed out that this is someone already in his 60s, a man who has spent decades building an enormous legacy as a businessman, promoter, and industry power broker. Someone who has also been closely connected to the careers of two legitimate Hall of Fame boxing champions during their professional journeys. And those fighters represented almost opposite qualities in the ring, especially their willingness to throw massive combinations and create the kind of aggressive, entertaining action that fans remember. That led to a question that was difficult to ignore. How can someone spend decades working alongside some of boxing's most aggressive and exciting fighters, only to end up defending a fighter being criticized for almost the exact opposite style? A more careful and defensive approach that, according to the critics, has failed to create the kind of excitement many fans expected. From there, the debate started moving away from pure boxing analysis and toward the public image being created by someone with that much age, experience, and status. The hosts questioned why a man with decades of achievements would present himself as someone willing to physically enter a dispute on behalf of a client. Their broader argument was that across almost every industry, the people with the most experience and influence usually have the least need to prove themselves, and real respect in music, business, sports, or street culture should not require endless displays of toughness. One host pushed that idea even further, arguing that eventually you reach a point in life where proving you are the toughest person in the room should no longer matter, especially when your resume, wealth, accomplishments, and decades of influence already carry more weight than any confrontation ever could. And this is exactly where we need to pause for a moment, because underneath all this noise, there is a much deeper issue that may actually explain why this entire controversy has become so interesting. The real story here is that this goes far beyond a promoter simply defending his fighter. You are watching one of hip-hop's most recognizable power players, a figure who helped shape an entire era of music and entertainment, now locked in a public media clash with two equally familiar names from another generation of rap who eventually built careers in sports commentary. That is why this controversy keeps escaping the boundaries of boxing, because suddenly history, status, influence, reputation, and legacy are all colliding in one messy situation. But then, the story took another turn, because after the initial exchange of words, everything seemed to cool off for a little while. The two hosts actually told their audience that they were done talking about it, that they had already explained their side, and that they had no desire to keep giving oxygen to what they believed started as a fairly minor opinion about a boxing match. Their attitude was essentially that they had careers, businesses, and other priorities to handle instead of endlessly dragging out a controversy that had somehow become far larger than the original comment ever deserved. Then, almost out of nowhere, the entire situation came back to life. According to the hosts, the person who reopened the door was the veteran industry figure himself. About a week after the fight, during an unrelated interview, he was reportedly asked whether the tension with the two commentators had finally been resolved. But rather than brushing it off or suggesting everyone had moved on, he reportedly continued criticizing them, used dismissive language, and indicated that, at least from his perspective, the problem was still very much alive. Once that footage began circulating online, the host's social media team apparently decided to lean into the chaos, sharing old and less than flattering photos and moments involving the veteran figure that were already available online, effectively turning the dispute into the kind of meme-heavy exchange that internet controversies almost always become. And naturally, that prompted another reaction from the veteran figure. This time, however, he introduced an entirely different issue that was not directly connected to the boxing match or the original criticism. He brought up a separate controversy involving a young rapper and used that situation to question what he saw as the host's inconsistent approach towards certain people. According to the commentators, he referenced an incident in which another artist had made remarks that many viewed as disrespectful, then questioned why the hosts had not responded to that situation with the same intensity they were now directing toward him. The implication was obvious. He was accusing the two commentators of picking their battles based on who they believed they could safely confront and who they preferred to leave alone. And that immediately became a major talking point for the hosts, because it completely shifted the supposed purpose of the argument. Suddenly, the issue was no longer simply whether a boxing match had been exciting enough. Now people were asking whether these commentators deliberately choose certain targets while avoiding others. Their response came quickly and without much hesitation. They completely denied the accusation. They argued that over the course of their careers, they have spoken on countless major controversies and public disputes without making decisions based on someone's fame, power, or identity. And they insisted that selective criticism is not how their platform works. Their entire philosophy, they explained, is built around giving honest opinions regardless of who happens to be involved. A boxer, rapper, athlete, celebrity, it makes no difference, because their view is that public figures become fair game for discussion when their performances or actions enter the public spotlight. They also brought up an especially revealing comparison during that conversation. They pointed to a massive ongoing dispute between two successful recording artists, one of those highly public entertainment battles that has remained intense and headline-driven for a long time. Their argument was that even though one of those artists had previously said things they did not appreciate about them, they never felt compelled to launch some public campaign simply because they had been criticized. And that was the distinction they wanted viewers to recognize. If their actual strategy was to attack every famous person who ever said something negative about them, then that other situation would have turned into a major war years ago. The fact that it did not, in their opinion, proved that this controversy was not about picking favorites or choosing convenient targets. Instead, they believed the reaction was specifically about the way the other side had escalated and handled this particular situation. From there, the conversation became much more reflective and, surprisingly, philosophical. Both hosts reminded viewers that they are entertainers themselves. They have created music, released albums, performed in front of massive audiences, and personally experienced what it feels like when people simply do not connect with something you create. Their point was that regardless of how talented, successful, or respected an entertainer becomes, nobody gets complete control over public opinion, and trying to intimidate every person who dislikes your work would be both impossible and completely contrary to the nature of creative expression. If someone hears your record and thinks it is terrible, you cannot threaten that person into suddenly loving the song. And if someone watches a boxing match and believes it was boring, the hosts argue that the exact same principle should apply. Once you put your work in front of the public, criticism becomes part of the deal, whether you are delivering a fight, releasing an album, performing on stage, or doing anything else that gives an audience the opportunity to judge your work. Then the conversation took yet another unexpected turn, and honestly, this next detail makes the entire saga even stranger. One of the hosts revealed that only days earlier, during a private business meeting with several of his own partners, completely separate from boxing and unrelated to the public drama, someone in the room asked him why he was publicly trading shots with the fighter at the center of this controversy. And according to the host, that moment showed just how unusual this entire situation had become. What the episode also revealed is how differently fame can travel between industries, because the person asking about the controversy apparently did not even recognize the fighter's name at first and mistakenly connected it to a much more famous name from music, simply because the two names sounded somewhat similar. It took multiple explanations before the host could clarify exactly which boxer he meant, and by the end of the exchange, it was obvious that the person asking had barely heard of the fighter at all. That story eventually led to one of the most fascinating theories surrounding the controversy, which is that this entire mess, intentionally or unintentionally, may have delivered the biggest publicity surge of the fighter's career. The hosts argued that they had rarely, if ever, seen this particular boxer generate that level of online conversation, media attention, or broader public visibility before one of his earlier fights, and arguably not even right after it happened. They pointed out that stories about the dispute began appearing in major entertainment and music publications, including outlets that normally have little reason to cover boxing, while larger pop culture platforms started discussing the situation too. In other words, whether anybody planned it that way or not, the controversy introduced this fighter to audiences who might never have discovered him through boxing coverage alone. And that realization eventually inspired what may have been the smartest suggestion of the entire conversation, because suddenly the media feud started looking less like a disaster and more like a possible promotional opportunity. The host suggested, partly as a joke, but clearly with some real business logic behind it, that instead of continuing the public war, maybe everyone involved should consider turning the conflict into a partnership. Their reasoning was straightforward. A fighter heading toward a major event does not necessarily need only traditional boxing media
promotion if he already has media personalities capable of generating massive organic attention around his name. They even entertain the possibility of helping promote future fights themselves, arguing that weeks of commentary, jokes, arguments, headlines, and build-up from a platform with that kind of audience could potentially drive more ticket sales and pay-per-view interest than a standard promotional strategy ever could. Whether it was a serious business pitch or simply a clever way to flip the entire narrative on its head, the suggestion revealed just how strangely this controversy had evolved. What started with two commentators saying they were unimpressed by a boxing performance somehow became a sprawling conversation about generational respect, accusations of selective criticism, previous conflicts with major artists, private business discussions, mistaken identities, and even the possibility of a future media partnership. And honestly, that is exactly the kind of unpredictable madness that happens when boxing, hip-hop, celebrity culture, and social media all crash into one another at the same time. But perhaps the most revealing moment came when the hosts finally stopped talking about the drama and turned their attention to the actual numbers behind the fight itself. Based on the figures discussed by the hosts, the event produced some of the strongest boxing television numbers that network had seen during the year, and reportedly ranked among the better-performing broadcasts for that stretch in several years. The veteran executive at the center of the controversy had apparently pointed to those numbers himself, seemingly using them as evidence that the event and the fighter were far more successful and entertaining than the commentators wanted to admit. But the hosts were not buying that argument, because they challenged the idea that big ratings automatically mean everyone watching was actually impressed by what they saw in the ring. Their point was simple. Viewers tune into events for all kinds of reasons, whether they are curious, following a familiar routine, supporting a particular fighter, or simply watching because the broadcast is already on a network they have access to. And in their view, strong ratings do not magically cancel out the complaints from people who watched the fight and still felt underwhelmed by the pace, action, and overall entertainment value, especially longtime boxing fans who expected a much more explosive performance. As the conversation finally approached its conclusion, both hosts seemed almost exhausted by how enormous this story had become, noting that they had now dedicated more discussion to this one controversy than they normally give some fighters over an entire year. They stressed how unusual that was, especially because plenty of boxers have stronger records, more devastating performances, and much more controversial histories without generating anything close to this level of attention on their show. And to them, that only made the situation look even more disproportionate, because the entire storm had ultimately grown out of one disputed opinion about a single boxing performance. So now we reach the question that has been sitting at the center of this entire saga from day one. Is this actually a serious personal feud, or are we simply watching a media fire continue because everyone involved can benefit from the attention in some way? When the hosts were asked about that directly, their answer was actually much simpler than you might expect. They said they did not view the situation as a real long-term beef and did not believe they were involved in some ongoing personal battle with the other side. Their stance was that they will keep doing what they have always done on their platform, which means delivering direct, honest, and unfiltered opinions about sports and entertainment without adjusting their commentary based on who might be watching or how much power and influence that person holds. So, where exactly does the situation stand right now? At the time of this recording, there has been no official reconciliation and no definitive resolution between the two sides. The hosts have repeatedly indicated that, as far as they're concerned, the matter is over, and they now view the entire episode as something that somehow became much larger than the original situation ever deserved. In their version of events, everything began with one simple reaction to a boxing match that did not deliver the level of excitement many viewers believed many viewers were looking for. Meanwhile, the ratings, media attention, and constant online conversation all point toward one obvious result. Whether it was intentional or completely accidental, the fighter's name has now been placed in a much larger spotlight because of this controversy. And honestly, that may be the most fascinating part of the entire story, because the conversation is no longer really about whether the criticism of one boxing match was justified. It has evolved into a much broader collision involving generational respect, business influence, entertainment history, personal reputation, and public perception, all unfolding in the span of roughly a week and a half. This entire episode perfectly demonstrates how closely boxing, hip-hop, celebrity culture, and internet media are connected now, because one opinion about a fighter's performance somehow pulled legendary athletes, major music figures, unrelated celebrity drama, and even private business conversations into one enormous storyline. And perhaps the craziest detail is that some of the people who eventually became part of the conversation reportedly had little to no idea who this fighter even was before the controversy began spreading across social media. When you take a step back and connect all the dots, there is at least one thing both sides seem to agree on, even if they remain completely divided on nearly everything else. This controversy generated a massive wave of attention, headlines, discussion, and exposure that almost nobody could have predicted from one boxing broadcast. Whether that unexpected spotlight eventually becomes a major advantage for the fighter, creates lasting damage for someone else, or simply disappears when the internet discovers its next obsession is impossible to know right now. But for the moment, one thing is undeniable. This has turned into one of the strangest and most unexpected collisions between boxing, hip-hop, media personalities, and internet culture we have seen in quite some time.